The current Daredevil Punisher crossover story continues, and Daredevil is making some powerful enemies. Let's check it out. What's up, Variant Nation? Today we are returning to Chip Zdarsky's current Daredevil run with issues 6 through 11. This has been one of Marvel's best titles coming out each month, as it follows the war between Daredevil, who has become the leader of the Fist, and Punisher, who has become the leader of the Hand. To make things even more interesting, both have been imbued with the mystical godlike powers that come with their respective roles. So the stakes are pretty high, but if you're not already up to speed on the story, you can pause this video and catch up with our previous episodes covering the first 5 issues of the story. You can find those right here. Another interesting aspect of the story is that Daredevil, in his new role as leader of the Fist, has been attempting to offer villains he's liberated from prison a path to redemption, as he believes that the old hero crime-fighting tactics are no longer working and a new approach is needed. Not sure if that's going to work out, but things should get interesting, so let's dive in. Alright, in issue 6 we see Doc Samson, who has transformed into Sasquatch, working to rehabilitate the villains Daredevil has freed. We actually see him talking to the symbiote Agony, trying to get her to focus her violence in a more constructive way. As the issue progresses, we also see Daredevil try to do the same thing with Bullet, another villain he set free. Elsewhere, Iron Man catches Elektra attempting to interrogate the President of the United States to find out whether he's the real president or a zombie compromised by the Hand. Iron Man tries to stop her and says, "After your stunt on Myrmidon, we've been waiting for you and your boyfriend to pop up again. Going after the president though? Have you lost your mind?" But Elektra is not deterred, and Iron Man is taken out of the equation by her men. She then approaches the president while he screams for her to stay away. Elektra asks, "Are you him or are you just a shell? Tell me who you are." He replies, "I'm the president and I'm in hell." And in a shocking move, he turns and throws himself out the window, leaving the world stunned and under the impression that Elektra has assassinated the president. Issue 6 then wraps up with Akka informing Punisher that the former members of the Hand and the freed convicts from Myrmidon are headed to their location in Japan, along with Elektra and Daredevil. Punisher just replies, "Ready my army. Those murderers need to be punished." And with that, we are finally creeping closer to the standoff between the Hand and the Fist, which has been teased from the beginning of the series. But I also have to note that throughout issue 6, we also begin to see the Avengers' search for Daredevil heat up as well. Anyway, that brings us to issue 7, where we see Daredevil decide to bring several of the convicts he's rehabilitated to Charlotte, North Carolina to stop a developer named Castlex from evicting all the tenants of an apartment complex they just purchased. When they arrive and see that protests and tensions are rising, Speed Demon asks Daredevil, "You're seriously telling me you broke us out of prison so we could walk up to some cops and break the law again?" Daredevil basically responds by saying, "You're lawbreakers, so am I. That's not what this is about. It's just time to stop breaking them for self-gain. We break the laws of man to help others. Let's go." Essentially, Daredevil is taking the Robin Hood approach here, as he's not really trying to reform these convicts into law-abiding citizens. Instead, he's trying to shape them into a vigilante army of sorts who only break the law to help others, which is another ethical slippery slope and comes with its own philosophical problems, but it definitely makes for an interesting thought experiment as the story arc progresses. In fact, the Avengers take Daredevil to task on this concept later on, but more on that in a bit. Anyway, Daredevil and his men go inside to stop the cops from evicting people, but in the process, Daredevil senses that Castlex has rigged explosives all over the apartment complex in case the cops couldn't get the job done, which reveals that Castlex was willing to kill everyone in the building to get that land. Regardless, Daredevil and his team managed to defuse all but one of the bombs and save everyone inside, but the attempt to blow everyone up leads Daredevil, Speed Demon, Stiltman, Bullet, and Fancy Dan to pay a visit to the CEO of Castlex. Daredevil then goes full Injustice Superman by telling the CEO, "I'm here to tell you you're done. No more evictions, no more pushing people into the streets, or we'll be back with more than words." Although the company just tried to murder a bunch of people, so wouldn't you make sure his next vacation destination had 4 concrete walls? But as they leave Castlex, Bullet says to Daredevil, "So I thought we weren't using violence." Daredevil replies, "Unless necessary." But Bullet retorts, "And you think violence is just physical? That guy is gonna have nightmares for months. Don't tell me you didn't enjoy that." Daredevil then tells him he didn't, but then admits to himself, "I did." He then says, "Sometimes fear is the only weapon, the gentlest weapon. We need to stop him from doing more harm." Which again, just my opinion, a nice cage would work wonders there. Actually, it should be obvious, but this entire story is essentially a social and political critique by the writer. In fact, in the very next panel, Bullet responds to Daredevil's remarks by asking, "Then why not bring him with us? Why not put all the CEOs on your little socialist island too? Why is it that guys like us are the ones in need of your kind of rehabilitation, but not the guys in mansions?" Which, I gotta say, is a fair question that is attempting to address the very real and increasingly blatant problem of 2 sets of rules when it comes to how how the law is applied to corrupt and criminal members of the rich and connected class versus the rest of us. I'm not saying I agree with all of Zdarsky's conclusions, but I think we all know that it's a real and growing issue that everyone is concerned with, which is why I say the story is an interesting thought experiment. Anyway, towards the end of Daredevil and Bullet's conversation, Bullet tells Daredevil, "These prisons you hate, they keep fathers from their sons, and that doesn't help either of them." So Daredevil agrees to let him go be with his son, but not before giving him a jewel that, unbeknownst to Bullet, allows Daredevil to spy on him. Then by the end of issue 7, the crap hits the fan as the Punisher and his Hand Army arrive with a giant fire-breathing dragon to take out Daredevil and his fist. Yes, a dragon. So everything just got better. Speaking of things getting better, let's talk some AwesomeCon.
Are you going to AwesomeCon this year? Because if you live near DC, you should. AwesomeCon is a 3-day celebration of geek culture, bringing over 50,000 fans together with their favorite stars from across comics, movies, TV, toys, games, and more. This year's celeb lineup includes Karen Gillan from Guardians of the Galaxy, LeVar Burton, who played Geordi LaForge in Star Trek The Next Generation, Doctor Who icon Christopher Eccleston, an always amazing Lord of the Rings panel with stars Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, and Andy Serkis, the voice cast of My Hero Academia, Lando Calrissian himself, Billy D. Williams, and a ton of incredible comic artists, cosplayers, and celebrities. If you've never been to a con before, you don't know what you're missing. There is nothing like being around a community of fellow geeks to celebrate all the fandoms we have come to love. And did I mention Artist Alley, the autographs and photo ops, video game and tabletop gaming? I'm telling you, if you live anywhere near the Washington, D.C. area, you don't want to miss AwesomeCon, because it's awesome. In fact, AwesomeCon lands on Father's Day weekend, and if your dad is a fellow member of Geekdom, that Sunday, the first 500 dads get a free t-shirt. It's the perfect dad gift. It all goes down at the massive Walter E. Washington Convention Center in Washington, D.C., June 16th through 18th. And Variant fans get $5 off any badge option with our code VARIANT. To grab your badges now, just click the link in our description. This year, they're celebrating 10 years of AwesomeCon, so you don't want to miss it. Just click the link below.
Okay, so we've now made it to Daredevil issue 8, where we pick things up with Daredevil and the Fist going to war against Punisher and the Hand, as Punisher comes riding in on a dragon as it rains down fire on the Hand Army like it's Game of Frickin' Thrones. We also see Stick and Elektra going up against Akka, Cole going up against the now Beast-infected Bullet, which actually happened in issue 7, and of course Daredevil going up against the Beast-empowered Punisher. Their initial fight is ridiculous, and during, Punisher uses a sword to slice Daredevil's right eye, causing him to bleed profusely. He then commands his dragon to breathe fire on Daredevil, but luckily Daredevil is able to get out of the way. At this point, Vincent Stegron uses his abilities to control reptiles to throw the dragon off balance, as Stiltman uses his stilts to wrap up the dragon, causing him to fall flat on his face. Agony then helps Cole by projecting her symbiote to control the Beast-infected Bullet like a puppet. At this point, the fight between Daredevil and Punisher begins to escalate as we see Daredevil finally get the upper hand, stomping Punisher into the mud like it's Dark Knight Returns. He tells Punisher something along the lines of, "Maybe God sent me to finally remedy you, to be your Punisher," which isn't a bad line if you're gonna suffocate somebody. Anyway, in the middle of the battle, Elektra actually got stabbed in the stomach by Akka, and by the end, Daredevil sets Punisher's dragon free, which sounds all kinds of wrong, but I didn't write it. However, at this point, Daredevil begins to retreat because he can't really kill Punisher since he's infected by the Beast. As such, Punisher's army continues to grow, and most of Daredevil's army is actually wounded, so they're forced to get out. But during the retreat, a now bloody Elektra informs Daredevil that while Akka was busy stabbing her, she stole the Beast's talisman, which is the secret to the Hand's resurrection powers. Issue 8 then ends with the Avengers finally finding the hidden location for Daredevil and his escaped convicts, which leads us perfectly into issue 9. But before we get into issue 9, let's take a second to think about how action-packed issue 8 actually was. I mean, the entire issue was a giant battle between the Hand and the Fist, and it was glorious. We had an intense fight between Daredevil and Punisher with a freaking dragon. However, as great as the action was in issue 8, you can tell this is just the warm-up. The ultimate boss battle is still to come. And if this is any indication of what that might look like, we have quite a spectacle coming when All Out War begins. But on to issue 9. Things pick back up with Daredevil waking up just after his fever broke, because remember, his battle against the Punisher was pretty bad. Stick tells him, "You need to let your eye socket heal," but of course Daredevil responds by saying, "I'm fine." Elektra then informs him that she's trying to destroy the talisman of the Beast by burning it in a sacred fire. But everything after that statement by Elektra is where things really start to fall apart for Daredevil. Starting with Cole coming in and asking Daredevil, "You good?" Daredevil responds, "I'm fine, Cole. Some rest, some healing for all of us, and then we'll be back to 100%. We could take this fight to the Hand, destroy them once and for all." But Cole responds, "People are hurt badly. I came here, followed you because I wanted to do some good. We stopped the bad guys. You got your dumb magic jewel. We saved the kid and managed not to die in the process. What's left?" Daredevil responds, "We have have to destroy the hand, Cole. None of this works if they're not burned from the face of the earth. Cole just leaves pissed off, saying, I was an idiot coming here. This is never gonna end, and people are gonna die. In the next panel, we see Sasquatch leaving as well, while agreeing with Cole and essentially telling Daredevil that he came there to help rehabilitate these people, but that Matt was using them. He proceeds to tell Matt, I can't support this. I should have realized this looking at Elektra. You're creating an army of Daredevils, but Daredevil is broken. You and your holy crusade of righteous violence can't be the template for these people, for getting better. So Sasquatch then gets on a plane and flies away as Daredevil curses his name. But things just keep getting worse as Daredevil then gets a call from the Stromwinds, who have been after him since before the Devil's Reign event. The Stromwinds let Daredevil know that he's got company and they're coming to avenge him, letting him know the Avengers are on their way to lock Daredevil up. And at this very moment, we see a huge bomber flying in as the Avengers start bombing Daredevil's facility, releasing Recid, a gas that if breathed in makes everyone tear each other apart. Daredevil then tells his best friend Foggy, hold your breath, at which point we get a massive twist as Foggy tells Daredevil, it's okay, it's time. Those men, they killed me. We needed to see where you were. This is your friend's body, his mind and thoughts. The Foggy Nelson, your friend, he's in hell. Revealing that Foggy was killed back in Devil's Reign by Kingpin, which explains how he just miraculously healed out of nowhere after Kingpin's attack. And now we know it was because he was killed and the Beast just used his body as a husk to be a mole for their army. Get this, Stick is also dead and was being used as a spy by the Beast as well. I gotta admit, this was a pretty wicked twist that we did not see coming. And to make the reveal that both Foggy and Stick are dead even worse, we also find out that they're both in hell, and with Elektra having destroyed the Beast's talisman, they cannot be resurrected. This issue then comes to a close with Daredevil's men tearing each other apart as they've been infected by the gas, followed by the arrival of the Avengers with Spider-Man shouting, Daredevil, what have you done? And this leads us right into issue 10, where it's all out war yet again, but this time it's the Avengers versus Daredevil. Essentially everyone is after Daredevil. Captain America and Spider-Man tell him, you broke killers out of prison. I don't know what happened to you, Daredevil, but this ends now. But Daredevil replies, I'm saving them, giving them new lives while you're content to let them rot. Captain America then answers, if you want to help criminals, you need to work and change the system, not just blow it up and make your own. You can't act like a dictator. Of course, this would be something that would come from Captain America. Gotta love that guy. Spider-Man then adds, yeah, a dictator who's dating the ninja assassin who killed the US president. I can't believe we're even having this discussion. But at that point, the discussion ends and the fight begins. Spider-Man then goes after Daredevil, who runs off, and we get an epic fight between the two characters. And the following sequence basically answers the question of who would win in a fight between Daredevil and Spider-Man. And despite what you're about to see, the answer is Spider-Man, and we'll explain in the end. Now, by the end of the fight, Daredevil is ultimately able to restrain Spider-Man by using Spidey's naivete to get close enough to take a web cartridge from his back, which he then caused to explode on Spidey's chest, restraining him to a rock. Daredevil then squeezes a pressure point on his shoulder, temporarily knocking him out. But after this, we see Daredevil say to himself, the amount of nerve pressure I need to apply to Spider-Man to knock him out almost breaks my fingers. Now, it's at this point you may be asking, how can you say Spider-Man would win this fight when we just saw Daredevil win? Well, firstly, this is an amped up Daredevil. He's imbued with the magical powers of the fist. So a lot of the strengths he used against Spidey will disappear when he reverts back to his normal street level self. But even with Daredevil's power boost, the only way Daredevil got the upper hand was by manipulating Peter's desire to save his friend, allowing Daredevil to get close enough to restrain Spider-Man the way that he did. But if this was a scenario where Spider-Man did not hold back, the webhead takes the fight no contest. In fact, throughout their confrontation in issue 10, Daredevil essentially admits that very thing in the narration, where he says, the fist magic makes me faster, stronger. The darkness is my friend. But could it ever be enough against him? Referring to Spider-Man. So for those of you who thought this means that Daredevil could defeat Spider-Man, no. No, it does not. Anyway, the issue ends with the Avengers being forced to retreat due to an avalanche and the Daredevil getting caught up in that avalanche. And that, my friends, brings us to the final issue we're going to cover, issue 11. The issue picks up 3 weeks after the avalanche, where we learn that not only did Daredevil survive, but he's been sulking in Cole's apartment. And it's been going on so long that Cole comes in one day and throws him out of bed, saying, you've been fine for over a week now. Bullet and Samson saved us. And for what? So you could sit around my place and feel bad for yourself? While everyone from your life is either dead or suffering. Cole then picks up Matt's duffel bag that has his Daredevil suit in it, saying, you don't get to wallow or to pretend to be some ruined messiah. Things are bad, your friends are in trouble, go fix it. Needless to say, this motivates Matt, so he suits up and leaves to pay the Stromwinds a visit. Why the Stromwinds? Because they're the ones behind everything that went down in the last issue. When he arrives at their facility, they ask him, are you here to scare us? You had fun with your little island. Consider what we did as payback for the billions you and your little girlfriend stole. But Daredevil replies, you don't understand. I'm not here for revenge. You can't destroy what's already been been destroyed. You've won. Don't look so surprised. I can't beat you. Your resources are limitless. I won't kill you. You know that much about me. And he finishes by telling them that if they let Elektra go, who they have locked up, he'll work for them and do anything besides kill for them. And to prove that he's serious, he offers them a sacrifice by stabbing both of his eyes out. This obviously is a pretty shocking and convincing move, so the Stromwind's sister then makes the call and frees Elektra. But as she does, Daredevil grabs the Stromwind brother by the neck and shows his true intention. He tells her to call them back and release every prisoner you kidnapped from my island. And he proceeds to beat the crap out of the Stromwind brother to make his point as the sister makes the call. So Daredevil accomplishes what he went there to do, but before he leaves, he replaces one of the Stromwind brother's eyes with one of his own. He then tells the sister, if you or your brother do anything to these people again, I'll give you pain like you've never felt before. The comic then comes to an end with Daredevil perching on a rooftop saying, the prisoners are free to be the men and women God wants them to be. My wife is safe. All I have left to do is die. And that, my friends, brings us fully up to date with the current Daredevil run. This series has been action-packed and wild so far, and we'll be very interested to see how Zdarsky closes out the arc, because at this point, Daredevil has made a ton of enemies. I mean, think about it. The Punisher and the Hand are after him because he's working with murderers who he's trying to rehabilitate, and the Avengers are after him more or less for the same reason. My question is, how are they going to restore Daredevil's relationship with the other heroes in the end? I mean, this Daredevil story may very well end with him being put in prison. Or maybe he'll be able to put the band together and lead the Fist in one more massive battle against Punisher and the Hand. It really could go a number of directions, which is fun. I know there are some of you who haven't liked this Fist-empowered Daredevil, but I gotta tell you, we're digging it over here on Planet Variant. It's been an interesting and very different take for the character, and a cool addition to a good multi-year story direction for Daredevil. Having said that, as I mentioned before, some of this story is a bit soapboxy on the political front, but it's being presented in a thought-provoking way that leaves room to question all sides to some degree, which at least makes it more interesting, at least in my opinion. But what do you guys think of this series? Let us know down in the comments. Otherwise, we'll see you next time when we talk Dawn of DC.